Marco with GAT, and we're going to talk about 6 months with the Oppo Find N6. Now, especially with the Z Fold 8 Ultra coming out soon, the question is in a lot of folks' minds, should I still get the Oppo Find N6 or is it outdated because of the Z Fold 8 that's coming out? Let's answer that question. Let's go. So I've had this phone since like July, maybe, or it might be February, but I know it's been at least 6 months. And, I've loved this thing from the beginning. This phone is just, as everybody thinks, it is very premium looking, how everything looks just really precise and the straight edges make it look premium to a lot of folks. And then the fact that it's just so doggone thin. And the biggest part of this thing is this inner screen. People are just so enamored by the fact that it is so creaseless. Okay. You cannot see the crease. And guess what? After 6 months, several, 100 folds, it still is my premium phone, where you cannot see a crease. Okay. And as far as feeling it, you don't feel it either. It's not present. Now, certain lights and reflections, yes, you might see a crease, but you have to really work hard at it. Now, enough about the crease. That's the biggest thing that everybody talks about on the Oppo Find N6. But that is really nice. Now, this thing is got a great stiff hinge, and it's still stiff today. No change from when I first got it. It's really nice. And you can hear it's premium when it shuts. It's a really nice device. And the fact that it is so quick and responsive. This thing has the newer chip, which is the Snapdragon 8 Gen Elite. Now, this one, Gen 5, I've got to add a 5 on the end of that. Okay, it's a Gen 5 Elite. And it has 7 cores instead of 8. So it's a little short a core, but that really helps it out. And I've done tests on this thing where I've done performance tests against other devices. And those devices with the 8 Elite 8 core lose to this one because this one gives itself ability to cool down with the 7 cores. So when you're doing really high performance testing, such as rendering video or playing games, this phone stays a little cooler. So that's a really nice benefit. And that's something to think about because the Z Fold 8 is going to come out with the Ultra anyway, is going to come out with the 8 Elite chip, and they will probably go full board with all 8 cores. And how do I know that it has issues? Well, with all the S-Series 26 phones from Samsung, they all do it. This one, and matter of fact, the 8 Gen 5 non-Elite on the Motorola Razr Fold beats it. So the fact that this is a 7-core, don't let that hold you back whatsoever. Now, if you're into Stylus, you can get a Stylus with this phone. I didn't because I didn't want to pay the big toll to buy that case and ship it out here. I mean, you're talking over $200 if I were to get that thing. And just, to me, I don't use a Stylus enough to do it. But that said, you can use the Stylus on the inside and outside, as you can see in the trailer there. It's great. And I use my Stylus now all the time, actually, with my Motorola. It's really fun to be able to use it on both screens. That's the important part. Samsung, whenever they had it, you could only use it on the inner screen. And now they've completely taken it away. So on the 8 Ultra, that's another thing. It's not going to have stylus capability like you have on the Oppo Find N6. Now, looking at the OS, I really like this OS. I mean, this thing is premium. I like it better than any other phone. And the reason why I say it's premium is because of all the things you can do to customize it. Check this out. Even here on your homepage, simple things like apps, like check this out. You can make it a small circle. You can make this folder long. You can make it large, as you can see here. You can stretch it across sideways. I mean, there's so many options you have with folders, and I love that because then I can just really customize my homepage the way I want to. A lot of folks like to minimalize. I don't. I like to have everything grouped in a category. Now, of course, this screen is very fast. It has that 120 refresh rate, as you can see here. It's just really, really smooth. I really like that. And it is an extremely bright screen indoors and outdoors. So you don't have any problems viewing this thing outside. Now, if you ask yourself, tell us the nit rates and all that stuff, I'm not going into a lot of specifics simply because this is just a 6-month review. I have a full review on it where I cover that, and you can check that video, and I'll put it here at the end so you can see. So all that is just say, this thing is really good outdoors. Now, some of the really just small little things that just drive me nuts about other devices that I love about this one. Simple things like this. Check this out. Let's say, for instance, I want to find my Nord app. I go here and I hit the ends. Check it out. All I have is N. I don't have to search through anything. It's not a full screen of apps. It's just the ends. That is just a little small thing, but makes things quicker, easier in life. I mean, I just love that about this phone. So let's look at multitasking right here. Open up Edge. Let's say you want to open up another browser. Strike right down the middle. Typically, you strike that down the middle. There you go, and it splits. And then you can go into another app, such as Chrome. Now you've got two side by side, which is really nice. You can swap them. You can top to bottom them. See, here they are split. And then let's go back to side by side. And then you can actually take this and move it out here. So you got what's called a 90-10 split, and you can switch back and forth this way. And if you want to, you can switch this one and you can make this one big, and now they are both large. Okay. Now, another thing that you can do is you can open up and you can take another app. I got my photo app, and I can drag it here, make it a third one. It'll put it on top, and it'll put one on bottom. You can't do three side by side if they're enlarged. So in other words, now it's down here at the bottom is one of them up here, and then my Photos app right here. And if I want to enlarge my photo app, now I have all three enlarged, which is really cool. Okay, so that's a really nice feature. And of course, if you want them all side by side, then you just shrink them each down to normal size down here. And we could take this one and shrink it, and now we have all three side by side. And of course, if you want to, you can also add floaters just by tapping a button, open up a file, okay, and you can do a floater. And with this one, you can do a floater any size, just like you can with Samsung. So there's no difference there. So as you can see, multitasking on this phone is a joy as well. Now let's talk about the cameras on this bad boy. It has a 200 megapixel main shooter, just like the Z Fold 7 and the new Z Fold 8 Ultra that's going to come out. But it also has a 50 megapixel telephoto zoom and a 50 megapixel ultra wide, where on the 8 Ultra, it's not going to have that zoom. It's still going to have that same old 10 megapixel zoom that you have here in the Z Fold 7. And I want to share something with you. I wanted to demonstrate something on this Z Fold 7 earlier in the video, and so I picked it up, and the battery was dead. Now that's pretty basic. I used this thing just a couple days ago, and it was nearly fully charged, believe it or not, and just had it standby, and it was dead. Now that's a frustration because of the battery. So let's move on to battery. The battery on this thing is 6,000 milliamp hours versus 44 on the Z Fold 7, and on the new Z Fold 8 Ultra, it's going to be 5,000. Well, that's still a huge difference. And the fact that this also has the 7 cores versus what will most likely be 8 core in the Z Fold Ultra, it will not burn through the battery quite as bad because it won't get as hot. Now, looking at the two of them closely, because if you want to say, well, what's it going to be like compared to the Ultra 8 Ultra? Well, it's going to be the exact same as the 7, all right? Not much difference in the design or size. So when you look at the narrow screen, I mean, look at that. It is a narrow screen. These numbers are quite bunched up compared to each other, simply because you have, a 6.5-inch external screen here versus a 6.6. Quite a bit difference. And then on the inside, you have a 8.12 size screen here on the Oppo Find N6 versus the Samsung is a 8-inch. So it's a little bit smaller. And you can see that it looks a little dwarfed here next to the Oppo Find N6. And of course, the Z Fold 8 Ultra is supposed to have a better crease or less of a crease, but you can see that right away. We looked at the Oppo earlier and you can't see it, but this one is quite pronounced. And then of course, putting down on the table is the old adage, the wobble king right here. Now, all joking aside there, I really think this would be a much better phone. Now, why didn't I carry this as my main phone for the last month at least? And actually, since I got it. I never actually carried this as my main phone, believe it or not. I carried it as my second. And the reason why is because I really like the OS on this thing. It's amazing. But when I had to do some primary work, simply for my job, doing professional emails and responding to text messages, and even with the channel entering everything in the comments section, it was so much easier because the Honor Magic V5 and the Motorola Razr Fold have the AI assisted writing. I could not get that on the Oppo Find N6. It drove me crazy, but thanks to a really good viewer of the channel, Eric, uh, I'm not going to say his last time because I don't know if he approved that, but Eric was awesome. He sent me an APK, or at least a link to it, and I was able to download it, put it on this phone, and replace the Gboard. And now I have that AI assisted writing. For example, I now hold the Oppo Find N6. I'm in my comment section. I just responded to a comment, and now I can press the button right there, and there's the AI writing tool, which I've been missing all this time. So there it is. It helps to fix your text. It'll rewrite and it'll reword whatever you want to do. I love it. And then I can just use that. And now I have the text without any issues, and it works in emails and everything else that you do with the Gboard. So now the question is, am I going to start using this as my main fold? Ugh, that's a toughie, because that was actually my main holdup, because I really love this thing, because those extra little things in the OS make it so much better, even better than the Motorola Razr Fold that I have now that I really love. I think the Motorola takes slightly better photos, but again, that's going to all be a personal preference. But there is one more issue that I have to live with daily, which is keeping me from making this my number one daily driver. This issue probably won't be yours. It just happens to be mine. I'm going to change locations real quick and show you what I mean. So here I am in my dusty old car. I just wanted to show you something. I have this really cool mount for my phones, okay? And it will mount them, but it will not charge the Oppo Find N6. I don't understand it. Now, if I fold it and put it back in there, it will close up, and see how it starts to charge, and then it's gone. It won't charge. I think there's something about the location of the battery. Here's the Motorola Razr Fold. Put it in there, and it charges right up, and it does fast turbocharging, because this is, believe it or not, is a 100-watt charger. So that's really cool. And then if I take and open up the Motorola, and then when I take the Motorola and put it in there, unfold it, check it out, it holds right in there. Not an issue whatsoever. Now, something I want you to notice is with the screen on, you don't notice the crease. And a lot of times that's the big deal, is the sun creates a lot of reflection, and I don't seem to have that issue. Not with the Motorola, or, of course, the Oppo Find N6. Now, I know some of you may say, Mark, that's just silly. Well, we all got our quirks, don't we? That's just one thing that I got to have. I got to be able to just simply put my phone in there and know it's going to charge in my car. Well, this one won't. I don't know why. Now, if I got a different mount, maybe it'll work, but I need to have my phone open too. That's just me. I use the maps, and then I also use a music player side by side. Larger screen is for a purpose, right? So I like to have it open inside the car. Now, one thing I do really like about this Oppo Find N is I can find cases for it. So this is a really nice case. I got it on eBay. It came from China, and it's pretty much like the OEM case as far as the material and everything. But the difference is this has MagSafe built into it, or magnetic safe. And as you can see, it does charge, and it'll stay charged. So that's cool. So that's something I cannot seem to find for the Motorola. So then you're probably wondering, well, then why can't that be a reason why you don't use the Motorola? But, overall, this is a great phone, great device. Better than, where did it go? The Samsung here, as far as I'm concerned. And then one other thing I hadn't even mentioned is the fast charging. You got 80 watts fast charging. You have, was it 25? on the Z Fold 7, 25. But they're going to go to 45 on the 8 Ultra. So at least it's getting a little bit closer, but still almost half of what you get with the Oppo Find N6. So I don't even think I need to say it, but you know what my preference would be. So that's 6 months with the Oppo Find N6. If you have any other questions about, everybody's going to ask, how's it work on your network? It works great on my network. I use T-Mobile. Just like I do all my devices, I don't have any problems with any of my service on my Chinese phones on T-Mobile. And I have had some folks that have messaged me or put in the comments that it works fine on their AT&T, but I believe that's the full-blown AT&T account, not a subsidiary like one of their Straight Talk or whatever else that they might use. Those won't take it, but on the primary AT&T service, apparently it works fine as well. So if there's anything else that you want to know, leave me a comment down below and I'll let you know. I answer all my messages, so make sure to leave me a comment. Now, if you want to see more on this, and definitely if you want to see the full review on this phone, check out this video here. Now, of course, I've got many of comparisons as well, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see all the different videos that I have. Until next time, have a wonderful day and God bless.